Hello and welcome back to the ME7 Podcast for episode 20, as tonight we review Saturday's battling performance against Swindon Town, as new signing Haji Manoga had probably the worst debut ever in a Gills shirt after getting sent off after 12 minutes. We also look at the transfer window. Now it's closed, and we preview Crawley Town as we head to just up to M25 on Saturday afternoon. This coming Saturday is what could be looked at as already a potential 6-pointer. As yes, you can believe it, there are teams still below us, even though we haven't scored for well over 600 minutes now. I'm joined by Josh Wilson and Owen Stanley. Gents, good evening. How are we both?
Yeah, good.
Owen?
Wonderful.
Yeah, recovered from Reading, just about. No.
Yeah, recovering from Saturday.
Recovering from Saturday. Okay, Josh. We'll start with you, mate. Obviously, you had a Saturday afternoon. Give us your assessment on it.
I think there are phases of play where we look really dangerous on Saturday, and I think if we'd stayed at 11 men, I think we would have won the game. Because to me, Swindon looked like a poor side. I think that they did pass it about nicely in areas, but I think they had something like over 30 shots, and only around 4 or 5 of those were on target. So it shows the level of side that they are. Without Harry McCurdy and the players that got them to the playoff final last year, I believe 8 of the starting 11 have now left the club. For them. So it shows that they were a side in transition, and they were there to be had. I thought Scott Kashket had a good game despite that, as did Hakeeb Abdelakam. He also played very well, and I actually think that was the best performance of a right back this season, despite the fact that he was not a right back. But yeah, frustrating. Obviously, the sending off before 10 minutes is ridiculous, and your heart sinks because you expect us to be Gillingham at that point. Last season, when that happened to us at home against Bolton and against MK Dons, we capitulated, and we didn't do that today, on Saturday, I should say. So it shows some sign of improvement. Yeah,
Owen. Obviously, it was 10 men for the best part of 80 minutes. But yeah, I thought the Gills boys did themselves proud in circumstances that they didn't really want to be involved in.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I think on another day, if we keep it 11v11, I think we're probably the most likely team to go on and win it. I thought for all the possession Swindon had, it was very side to side across the box, never really much in terms of penetration or looking like it was actually going to lead anywhere. They were a very tidy team with the ball, but not particularly someone you feared when they had it in what you'd call, I suppose, dangerous positions, because they didn't really look like they knew what to do when they got to that point. I think before the red card, the first 10 minutes, I thought we looked a better side, thought we looked dangerous going forward. We caused them a lot of issues with our high pressing and them not being able to clear the ball properly. I think they gave the ball away in their own penalty box or just outside 3 or 4 times prior to the red card, one of them which was intercepted by Adelakun, then Kashket unfortunately put it over the bar, but we were forcing them into them issues early on, and then obviously what happened, and we had to change the setup a little bit. Adelakun, as Josh said, was personally my man of the match. I thought he was brilliant at right back. But even with 10 men, other than, I can't really think of the header in the first half that Morris saved. I think it was in first half injury time. But other than that, I can't think of any real clear-cut chances they created or where we were on the verge of conceding. I think second half, obviously, when you've got 10 men and it gets further into the match, you probably look at it and think, well, we've got this 5-10 men. We're probably better off going back to the 5, shutting up shop, so to speak, bringing on the centre, taking off one of your attackers, and that's what we did. And obviously, it looked like we weren't going to really get a goal at that point because we were so focused on making sure we got the point and worked so hard for a game. But I think the main frustration is obviously what happened, and if it didn't happen, I think could well have been a game where we could have been coming on today talking about the first 3 points in a while, but obviously it wasn't to be in that sense. But obviously you have to praise the result and the resilience as it was given the situation.
Yeah, Josh. Let's come on to obviously the major talking point of the game after 12 minutes. Minoga obviously got booked for the first foul where I can't remember who the Swindon player was, but he's obviously running away from goal, but he gets himself. He tugs him back, he pulls his shirt, and as they're on the attack, and then the second one is just a ridiculous sort of decision to foul him. They're both completely unavoidable yellow cards, aren't they? And one of just both rash decisions, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's something that I think if you looked at the comments from Portsmouth fans and their management, that we could see happening, that potentially he could be getting some cards, because that's something that they've said was in his game, that physically he has everything to be a quality defender. He's very strong, he's very quick, and can read the game well. But he picks up cards pretty frequently, and they want to iron that out of his game. And obviously that's going to happen with a young player. Also, it's something that I don't think right back is his best position. Indeed, if you read the Portsmouth news, one of the reasons that they didn't send him out on loan to Crewe, who are the other League Two team in for him, is because Crewe wanted to play him at right back. I don't think he's a right back. I think that he is a centre back that can play there, like Will Wright. I think that his best position is centre back. It's where he plays for his national side. It's where he's played for Portsmouth. Both were appalling. You know, I think as we were saying before we went on air, I think that they were the two of the few correct decisions that the referee got in the first half, because the officiating was pretty suspect. But both were justified yellow cards. Both were stupid, and I hope that he can learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the problem, isn't it? Is that obviously we're all for giving youngsters chances and things like that, but when we're in the sort of state that we're in, but when we're in the situation we're in, where we've not won, we've only obviously won one league game this season. We've not scored for well over 600 minutes. The last thing you want is a 20-year-old on his debut after 12 minutes the second yellow, in my opinion, could well easily be a red. He's so high with the second challenge. It's just inexperience and stupidity, isn't it?
Well, the second yellow is a bit of a calamity in itself, because initially it's a really bad corner from Williams. We should point that out. It was a really poor corner, and then it comes back from Minoga and he tries to shoot from about 35, 40 yards, and naturally it gets blocked and the deflection falls straight behind where it's coming from. So he's obviously already on the back foot. And I think anyone with, I don't think you can really blame him being 20 on the fact that he's done that. I think anyone with, none of us have any professional footballing ability. Obviously, if we didn't have all those knee injuries when we were younger, it'd be a different story. But we'd all know not to dive in like that when you're on a yellow. It's completely brainless. I think you can see, because it's right next to the dugout, if you watch it back, you can see Neil Harris's reaction. He doesn't raise his hands, doesn't try to appeal anything. He just sort of turns around and thinks, well, that was coming. And, it's just, there's two ways you can look at it on the transfer window deadline day when you have this sort of signing, because we've been screaming out for an experienced centre half for months and months. Everyone knows it. Harris has known it himself. Hasn't happened for one reason or another. And we've gone for a youthful defender, which, on deadline day, people are thinking, well, we need the numbers, but then also we're like, well, it's not someone experienced. I'm not sure I'm that invested in it. And then, unfortunately, when you have someone who isn't experienced, he looked a bit too enthusiastic, obviously, then these things can happen. The first one was really needless. I think O'Keefe was right next to him, so there's another player there to cover. And the second one, it's just, you just don't make that challenge when you're on a yellow. It's schoolboy. You know that. There's no need. But he does it, and, all we're thinking, like what we think, and imagine what was going through his head 10 minutes onto his, I think, EFL debut, unless he's played in the league before for Portsmouth. I'm not sure he has. I think he might have played some competitions, but going 10 minutes into that game, I think his family were there, watched him for his debut. Horror all the way around.
Yeah, and Josh, obviously, Owen alluded to there about Neil Harris's reaction, and Harris has touched on it with the interviews that have come out this morning about the red card, and obviously he mentioned that Minogue had apologised at the time, and then he apologised after, and Harris basically just said, "I don't want your apology, just don't do it again." And then he then said, "And if it keeps happening or does happen again, it just won't wash with him, and he'll very quickly learn that obviously he won't be in the team." And that is simple as that, isn't it? Is that the harsh way of reality and learning is that, all right, you've done it once, you've made the mistake. Just learn from it and simply do not do it again.
Yeah, I think it's a stance we should have had with Daniel Phillips last season. I'm not sure how many times he got sent off. It was at least 3, I think. And I think even experienced players can learn, because I think after Stuart O'Keefe's sending off against MK Dons last year, he improved. His form improved, because I think that sometimes it takes a little bit of adversity to come through the other side of that. But yeah, no, brainless, and it's something that you'd hope a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old will get out of him. He's not played a lot of senior football. He went on loan to Bromley and didn't play, and then went to, was it Weymouth? Or was it? Went to Weymouth and played for admittedly a poor Weymouth side. Has played for Portsmouth in cup competitions this season, and has played for them a little bit before that. So as someone who used to live in Portsmouth, you do see, they rate their youth products highly down there, and they like to see them develop. But one can only see. I mean, I think for me, the major blessing is we've got Robbie McKenzie back, and for me, that allows us to play our strongest 11.
Yeah. Obviously, Harris did mention this morning that McKenzie is still well off the pace in terms of match fitness, and it's going to take him a little bit of time. So even this weekend might come a little bit too soon, which is not ideal, because I'm all for obviously McKenzie coming back to the club, but it's not great that we're going to have to probably wait 2 to 3 weeks to even see him in a dual shirt. Owen, let's move on from obviously the red card, and after that. After the sending off, we had I think obviously Scott Cashgett had the best chance of the game, where I think he nicks the ball off Swindon, trying to play out from the back, and really couldn't do it. And all he had to do was just square it to Mandron, and it's a tap in, and it's 1-0. He decides to go alone and obviously hits the post. In that situation, Owen, if we're coming to the back of this game scoring lots of goals and we're full flowing confidence, Cashgett probably squares that, doesn't he? But he thinks about it too much and too long.
Yeah, I was about to say he hesitated a lot in those couple of seconds. First, like he was going to square it, then he checked back, and he did very well to get it in from that tight an angle. I think Mandron was the pass. It's one of them, I think, where obviously we haven't scored a goal in forever, like you say. He's probably overthinking it a little bit in that moment. Well, I need to score here. What's the best option? Maybe I'll pass it, actually, maybe not. And then by the time, when the defenders get near him, he thinks, I've got to shoot now. And obviously it doesn't go in, and that's, just the way it is at the minute for us. We just can't seem to score for one reason or another. It just isn't going in. He should have squared it to Mandron. I think it's just little things, like he hits the post there, Walker hitting the post against Walsall was just these fine margins that we can't, even though the game, I think I think it might have only been 1-0 at the time against Tranmere, when we had that goal line scramble, which somehow got cleared off the line just before it went in. There seems to be an incident in basically every other game, really, where we should have scored. It hasn't quite happened, and we're still stuck here with one league goal a season, which probably was offside, not that it mattered. But it's just as much as we can be happy about a battling performance, and we should be from Saturday, it is also another game's gone by, another 90 minutes past, where we haven't managed to put the ball in the back of the net, and it hasn't been for lack of chances, really. And it's just it's a trend that's been going on for a long time now. Obviously, we've missed out on a striker on deadline day. God knows how many we've missed out on in the whole summer, but we've got what we've got now, and it's just a case of someone needs to step up soon and start getting the goals for us, because otherwise it's going to be a very, very long season, and it already is one at the minute. But yeah, he should have squared it, but didn't happen.
Yeah, Josh. I actually thought, apart from obviously the miss onto the post from Scott Cashgate, I actually thought he was one of our brighter performers on Saturday afternoon. I actually thought that he had one of his better games in a Gills shirt that we've seen. I thought he was tenacious, worked really hard, led the line well, looked to get him behind. And if he performs like that sort of every week, where he becomes that forward where he stretches defences, he could be an asset to us, couldn't he?
No, I fully agree. And if we do play Harris's preferred system of a 4-4-2, I think that he would be a really good pressing forward or shadow striker, whatever you want to call it, someone that sits just off Mandron and can collect the balls that Mandron can lay off, because he can do that. The thing that I find frustrating with Cashgate is not necessarily his level of performance, because I think that generally he does put a shift in, although sometimes he'll make the wrong decision, like not squaring it there. There was another incident later in the game where he could have just put a through ball through and Mandron was in, and he chose to take a shot instead, which went into Rosed. But the issue for me is when he's up top by himself or isolated, you're pinging balls into someone that's 5'4" against, and they're being marked by a centre back that's well over 6 foot. They're never going to win that ball. So the people that are taking those wild long kicks towards him, I think need to adjust their game a little bit to get the best out of him.
We'll touch on him a bit later. In obviously, Akib Adelakun. Obviously, he moved to right back. I thought he was excellent. But could we see a stake of him and Cashgate up front together? Because Mandron for me is not done anywhere near enough. He's just not been, in my opinion, not been good enough this season. His hold-up play's not been good enough. He's not been good enough in the air. He doesn't get himself in the right positions. I just think he's been really actually quite disappointing this season. And Lewis Walker, obviously, we know from Lewis, he tries hard, he works hard, he holds the ball up quite well, but he just hasn't got that know-how on it, and it can really stick to front goal. But if we look at Adelakun's previous record at other clubs where he's been at Scunthorpe, and I think that's what got him his top move into the Championship, where he 5 goals for them. Could we see Cashgate and Adelakun as potential as a front two together?
I don't think we will. No. I think I don't see Harris doing that. I think it's more square pegs round holes. I know he probably can play there, but when you've only got 2 strikers and you haven't been able to get another one, you'd have to swallow a lot of pride to leave them both out to play a winger up front with Cashgate, who's himself has been playing majority on the wing this season. The frustrating thing is Mandron hasn't been showing anything really this season. I don't think many people have actually said it, to be honest, but I think he's pretty poor in every game I've seen him in, to be honest. I can't think of one game I've seen him where I'll say he's had a good game. I think, to be honest, he's been pretty anonymous in most games, and that's just the way I see it, unfortunately for him. Walker is it's a strange one because he does work hard, and he does put everything into his performance. But you look at him, you don't think he's ever going to score a goal, do you? Unfortunately for him, but it's just one of them where you've got 2 main strikers, if you like, in Walker and Mandron, and neither are really that convincing. Really, we shouldn't be, just over a month into the season and talking about playing a winger up front because the other 2 strikers aren't doing it. It's just the fact of where we are. I don't think he'll do it because I just don't see it. I wouldn't be adverse to it myself because it's something different, and it can't be much worse than what we're watching at the minute because, Mandron, the most frustrating thing about him is how we always just wide all the time. I know people can argue he got a goal against Wimbledon from being in a wide position, but every time I see him pick up the ball, and it seems to always be right on the right-hand side, right on the left-hand side, and then he's looking up into the box and there's no one there. That's where he needs to be. It was obviously a bit different watching us on Saturday about Green. I think we're gonna really notice in the coming weeks just how much of a problem it was that we did miss out on a strike on deadline day. But then I say that I look at the list of free agents, as I'm sure both of you boys might have looked at as well. the likes of Sam Winnell. Last I heard, he had a trial at Burton Albion. Obviously, they're bottom of League One at the minute. I think that was maybe just before the season started or around then. And then, most well known off the top of my head would be Tom Elliott, who we were linked with not long ago. I think I'd be looking at Sam Winnell and saying, come in to train for a week, let's have a look at you, and then we'll see what we can do. Because I know Harris has said that he doesn't think many clubs will be going into the free transfer market, and we probably won't be one of them either. But I think when you've got a player like Sam Winnell, who I know maybe isn't at the form he was at, when was he a really good striker? It was probably when he was at Barnsley, wasn't it? The same year.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago was the last time it was prolific. I personally would like Tom Elliott. Not that he's been immensely prolific either. He's just someone that we know has worked with Harris before and would know his system.
I'd be looking at Winnell personally, just because he scored a few goals for Oxford last year when he was there briefly. I think Burton, maybe it was just preference to him that he didn't go there because obviously they're struggling for goals in the minute where they are. I think it'd be worth getting in for a week, having a look at him, and then seeing if there's something we can do there. But it doesn't sound like that's an option we're going to explore, which is both frustrating and a bit confusing, to be honest. But
yeah, well, I mean, it's a nice. Discussing this is a nice route to obviously discuss about the transfer window. Obviously ended somewhat 48 hours before obviously the game against Swindon on Thursday, and we ended up obviously bringing in Minoga and Robbie McKenzie back to the football club. Both defenders. McKenzie was probably more of a welcome addition than Minoga, and one that obviously shocked Gills fans. But obviously, it then obviously come out that the following day from Harris's presser that we had gone into the market for a striker, and at 7 o'clock that striker was coming, and then at 7:05 he was down the coast, further down the coast, right down the coast, and off to Exeter. We all know that striker was probably definitely Harry Smith. And Josh, give us your whole. I think Harris in the end added 15 new signings, I think, in total during the window. Give us your assessment of the window now it's closed as a whole.
I think we've done the bare minimum that we had to do. There are areas that we're still deficient in, particularly up top. So it is staggering that we didn't bring another striker in. Even at a free agent, I don't understand why we've not gone to someone like Winnell or Tom Elliott and said, look, you can come in on trial, perform okay, you can have a short-term deal till January. Because, these guys are free agents now. It's either that or they drop down into non-league or go abroad. Some additions are really good. I think Sean Williams looks like a promising signing, someone that's really experienced. Jordan Green is exciting when he stays on his feet. And bringing Robbie McKenzie back is a real coup. Now, I know that Robbie wanted a move to the Championship or the top echelon of League One, and that didn't materialise. And the only other offers he had were from this division. So it's good that we've managed to beat those out. Obviously, you've got to factor in for a player like Robbie the cost of relocating and everything like that. So it's nice that we were there in the end for him. But it's just frustrating that we've not landed a striker. Harry Smith would have been a good addition. I think it's fair play to him that he's got moved to Exeter. I think it might be a bit of a step too far for him. He's never really scored goals outside of League Two. But yeah, a frustrating bare minimum transfer window, but that's what you expect from us under our current ownership, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, Owen, agree?
Yeah, I think we went into we're going to end up with a better team than the one that we had last year. I'm not entirely sure we do have that, to be honest. We're missing the big goal scorer in Oliver. We're missing fairly competent centre half in, say, Colin Masterson, for example. Our back four is mainly made up of players who haven't played league football in Baggett, Law, or not much league football anyway, in Baggett, Law, Wright, and then the one experienced player you do have in Matt Claimer, which like the McKenzie one, I'm actually not as big on as everyone else is, primarily because he had no pre-season. That's always match fit. You actually see it like weekend. That lack of fitness and lack of match fitness will come to fruition pretty quickly, I would imagine. There's a risk of injury with that if you're rushing him in. I think, there are some signings I like. Williams, Green look decent enough. I know Williams is on a bit and just getting too much out. I think at that age, it's just going to be difficult. Adelakun had his best performance on Saturday, but he was playing out of position. So, Tom Jeffries, what's happened to him? Been injured.
He's come completely off the radar, isn't he? I mean, he wasn't even on the bench Saturday. Was he on the bench Saturday?
No, I think the last time we saw him was half time on the opening day, I think, and he's been gone ever since.
Did you get any minutes at Charlton? I can't.
I don't know.
I mean, he might have done. He might have got a little bit, but baffling. Carry on.
I think the spirit of Matty Widdick's ghost has taken over his body.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's just little things that it's just something like saying we've been chasing Lewis Walker for 4 weeks is very much something I could see Evans saying, which is a bit concerning because not being funny. No disrespect to Lewis Walker, I'm sure he's a lovely lad, but there's no one looks at the record and chases him for 4 weeks. Sorry, I don't believe that.
Yeah,
Manjon, I can see why he signed fairness because I think everyone was quite excited when it did materialise, but it's absolutely to say it's been underwhelming so far is a bit kind. I think it's really not worked out at all at this point. Glenn Morris, probably one of our best signings, especially getting him on loan from a third League 2 club. Alexander, another one who's already cost us 2 goals this season. Excuse me. Sorry. Alexander has already cost us a couple of goals this season. Ryan Law, not convinced on either, to be honest. I think Titonda's been unlucky not to get more minutes in the league than he's had. I'm trying to go through them all one by one, but I feel like I'm forgetting a lot of them, to be honest.
Casket.
Yeah, he's looked all right. He scored our 1 goal, so I suppose that puts him above everyone else by default. Goal. Turner, I mean, he's a backup goalkeeper, isn't he? There's not much to say about it. Got us through into the League Cup next round, so that's good. But yeah, I think it's just the 2 main areas this summer we were looking at is a proven goal scorer in League 2, which, with no budget like we have, isn't it? Find, or at least someone who can score a decent amount of goals, which we thought we might find in Manjon. Maybe his luck will change and he'll turn into that player, but at the minute I don't see it. And, we've been saying since the window started we need an experienced centre-half really, really badly. We've not got it. The fact that I will say out because we've been talking around for a long time this summer. The fact that he's gone to start, we've missed out on him rather than him just going somewhere else without interested. With all due respect to them, they've been in the EFL. They think it's their 2nd season and they've beaten us to a sign like Pierre, which is really frustrating. And I think we're destined to be lower mid-table this year. I don't think there's going to be anything more than that. And I think that I think January, but I don't think we're going to get a magic pot of money in for anywhere in that month. All the same in terms of signings from clubs, players that no one else really wants them, or loans. Get with someone that Charlton goalkeeper is still on the books, which I don't really understand. But
yeah,
a bit disappointing. If I was to grade it, I'd probably go 4.5.
4.5, yeah. I was having this discussion about the window on Saturday afternoon with someone that sits behind me, and he didn't really agree with what I was saying in terms of let's go with the presumption that it was Harry Smith, because going by the comments, it definitely was. And Harris alluded to it in the next day that he said that at 7 p.m. he was coming to Gills. At 7:05 he was off to the League One club, being Exeter. We've then got 3 hours of the window still left to try and get someone in, free agent or not. Josh, I'm going to pose this question to you because I mentioned this comment, and my comment was to this guy, and he didn't agree with me, but my comment was to this guy was that you've got 3 hours left of the window. If 5 minutes later you've missed out on your number one target that evening, why can you not, or do you not have plan A or plan B or plan C or plan D, and you have 3 or 4 forwards lined up that you think, right, okay, if you're going to fall through, regardless of whether you've not got a club or not, I'm going to pull you in on deadline day because I know that you can come and play for me Saturday. You can now then come and play for me next week. I don't understand it. That was my point. Josh, put it to you. What do you think?
I think it's quite simple, really, that our budget is just not there. I think we're being run on less than a shoestring right now. From what I've heard, our yearly wage bill for the football team is around £500,000, which is exceptionally low at this level, at a professional level. There are many clubs in the National League and some in the National League South and North that have bigger wage budgets than us. There are some in the Isthmian League that have wage budgets that are not that dissimilar to what we have currently. And that's really concerning. You know, if we did have a bigger budget, surely a striker would have been bought in. And I think that there are people at the club that are avoiding accountability right now that need to, you know, face some home truths, that the way that the club is being run is poor, it is substandard, and it's being done to tick it over. And that is really worrying for us. Because I think if we do drop down into non-league, I think the club will really struggle. I think we will be a Scunthorpe that I don't think have won a game yet.
No. Yeah, Fred Perry's just commented and said Harris was hoping to actually get when Harris first arrived. I'd imagine Oxford offered far better wages. I'm not surprised, to be honest. And Matt then said, more importantly, why leave it last minute to try and sign a striker? And this is the problem, isn't it, Owen? Is that we've had all summer to try and sign another forward, and we've got all of these midfielders. We've got now all of these defenders. Yes, we are happy that Mackenzie's come back to the football club. But yeah, we've still only got, one really out and out forward, 2 out and out forwards, sorry, in Walker and Mandron on our books. And my point is that obviously with it being Harry Smith, I can't imagine Orient. I can imagine he's probably one of their highest earners to start off with, because last season under Jacket, he was playing every single week and he scored 15 goals last season. And then I can't imagine Orient would have paid anything towards his wages, it being a loan deal. So that suggests to me that we have got somewhat of a budget to go and get a forward in, or somewhat, and pay most of his wages. I don't understand, and it's a well-known fact as well that we put a bid in for McCallum at the start of the summer. Harris told that to me myself that we'd put a bid in for him. It was just his agent not playing ball. So I don't get where those funds have gone. I don't understand it.
Imagine Scotty's holiday bid for
yeah.
You know, you can ask these questions and we're never going to get proper answers, are we? It'll always be political answers. Oh, they go into this, they go into that. You know, I think in Fisher's interview, he said like all the revenue will be going towards budgets for transfer. I know we haven't, to my knowledge, had any events. Maybe we have. I don't know. No one's really interested about to talk about. So
yeah,
money is and has been there, but I think that's been the same case for a few people. Well, we have had money there, we just haven't used it because we just haven't wanted to. We wanted to use it on other things, and you know, I think Harris probably. I can't imagine he wasn't knocking on the door of Scally and then Fisher saying, I need this. And they've gone, I don't think we can do that. It's like what I said about Walker. Is like, there's no way he was chasing it for 4 weeks. I reckon the story, I don't know this for fact, but I'm going to imagine that the story is he went on trial, Harris didn't fancy him, then realised, well, we haven't got a budget, so I'm going to have to take him now. And turned up and we've been fed that we wanted it for 4 weeks. I think the big issue is with waiting all that time to decide we finally need a striker. Just like players like Harry Smith, look at Exeter. Do they really need Harry Smith? They've got Sam Conway, probably one of the best. Was one of the best two last year. They probably just looked at the deadline day and thought take him. Whereas if we properly went through not long before, a month or so before, we probably could have got him without much stress, perhaps. And yeah, it's just no one's ever going to know where this money goes because no one's ever told. But a reoccurring theme every summer. People still joke about like, where's the money for Dak? Where's the money for Gazzaniga? Or years later, we're going to get it again soon when whenever the tribunal money for Jack Tucker comes through. Because I think someone asked Harris about that for the Swindon game or a couple of days before, where he was talking about transfer window, and he said that it hadn't been fully done yet. So that's why we haven't got that money yet. But when it comes to January, you'd assume that would be done by then. So then, if we somehow don't have a budget in January, then you're inviting the question saying, well, we've apparently got this tribunal money now for Jack Tucker in, say October or something like that. It's now January, so why do we not have a better budget than what we did this summer? So that'd be interesting. I would safely assume that money will either not be available for transfer, would have got a private jet to buy, and we'll never see it again. But you don't know yet.
Yeah, but this is what confuses me is because there would have been somewhat of a budget to go out and get a loan deal for Harry Smith. And so, therefore, why not have we put, right, okay, if we don't get Harry Smith, these are plan A, plan C, plan D, and these strikers are all on the same wage as Harry Smith. So this is our budget. These are the forwards that we can go and get. If we don't get plan A, we'll go for plan B or we'll go for plan C. I don't get it. I don't get why Harris is thrown, and Harris is partly to blame for this, and Nicky Shorey. I'm not putting all the blame on the board because the fact of the matter is that it's with your recruitment as well. So I don't understand why we just didn't scope it out and say, right, okay, let's say Smith is on what, £800,000 a week, something like that. Orient, something like that, maybe a top end league. £800 a week, something like that at Orient. I can't imagine.
No,
what would it be?
I'd imagine he'd be on 1,500 to 2,000.
1,500. So there you go. So you can get plenty of forwards at 1,500 a week. I don't understand why we went, right, okay, at 7 o'clock, we'll go for Harry Smith. Yeah, 5 minutes late, he's not coming. Okay, we'll go to plan B. All right, if that's not going to work out, we'll go to plan C. Okay, if that's not going to work out, we'll go to plan B. This is our budget. It baffles me. It absolutely baffles me on how we've not ended up with a forward. And yeah, Harris and Nicky Shorey are partly to blame for it because the fact is, why would you not have a backup plan if you don't have one of them? I don't get it. I don't understand.
No, I don't either. If I'm honest, I think the element of us going for a striker on deadline day rather than early on, obviously on deadline day, more players do tend to become available because there's more movement in the market. It's a bit more fluid. But that's no excuse. We should have known 3 or 4 players that were either free agents or were due to become available. It's just poor infrastructure and planning on our behalf. As we said, I don't understand why we've not got 2, 3 agent strikers on trial at the moment. Because clearly it's an area we're deficient in, and say, you're looking at a 6-month contract, potentially a year or 2 years if you perform well in that time. I don't understand why we're not doing that. There are clearly people still in the market that are available. I think the argument are they're free agents for a reason. It doesn't apply here. We need numbers in that position. If Mandron gets injured, we have no recognised number 9. Yes, Scott Cashcare is a striker, but he's really more of what we would call a modern forward. He's never played as an out-and-out striker. He's played up top with people like Akinfenwa to play off of. And Lewis Walker, the best goal return he's had was in Serie D, which is the same professional level of football, probably comparable to the National League South. So it is worrying that we've not done that.
Harris said himself that comment you just said about players being free agents for a reason. I look at some of the people like this. It's like we signed, what's his name? Mononga? Is that his name? Yeah. But Paul Downing, formerly of MK Dons, he's currently a free agent. Why have we not looked at that?
Yeah.
him. I thought, well, I think he's only 29, 20.
I think he's had quite a lot of injury issues, but so's Robin McKenzie. So,
yeah, well, I don't buy like what Josh said. Players are free agents for a reason, and that's why I'm not going near him. Sam Rinnell would walk into this squad every single day. So would Paul Downing on one leg. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense to me. I don't know why we're not looking at it, but it seems like that's not going to change, and we're just going to put up with what we have until January and then see what happens, which I think is going to
It's worrying.
trouble.
Yeah, well, I think it says all you need to know when you've not scored a goal for over 600 minutes of football in a league that you've just come into. So, yeah, and I think it brings us on nicely to obviously Crawley Town, who are one place below us this coming Saturday. Josh, I hate to absolutely say it, but at this stage of the season, it could be well dubbed a bit of a 6-pointer because we're both not playing well. We're both really not scoring goals. They've put a lot more money into their team more than we have. They went and signed, obviously, Dom Telford, which was a massive kind of eye-opener in pre-season. He's not really hit it off. Quote me when I say that, because he'll go and bang lights 2 or 3 on Saturday. But yeah, it is a big game on Saturday, and one that we look at that we should take full confidence into.
No, I agree. Anything less than a point is disastrous. I think that we need to be scoring against teams like Crawley that are around us as well, particularly, as they've been as poor, or if not worse than we have. So you need to be going into these sort of games with confidence. And I think that defensively we should do, because we've not been conceding that many in the league over recent fixtures. Obviously, the Charlton game aside, in our last 3 fixtures, we've conceded 1 goal. So we need to be going into this game full of confidence. And, I know lots of people that are Crawley Town fans, and they're frustrated at how the season's going. They have spent money, but it feels a bit disjointed. They've still got a lot of players in the squad from last year that were very accustomed to John Yem's ball, as they called it, which was Steve Evans' ball to the max, lots of long balls and aggression. And they then brought in an Arsenal academy coach who wants to play nice, tidy football, and it's not really worked for them. I think that they're a team that we could definitely hit in transition, as any Arsenal team is, or Arsenal coaches that come through the Arsenal system. They like to play a lot, and it means that you can catch them in transition. Whether we do that or not, I don't know. I just think we need to play with real pace and aggression, and I think that can scare them.
Yeah, I mean, it is so important on Saturday we just go at Crawley, because obviously, as Fred has just commented, actually, he's just said Crawley have not got a point at home all season. All the points have come away from him. Cue the home win. Yeah, I mean, it is important though that we just go at Crawley Town on Saturday and just go for broke.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those where, as Fred just said, they haven't got a point at home all season, but we can't score goals. It's not going to be one for the highlight we haven't a fault. I think we need to just try and impose ourselves. Start the game how we did on Saturday prior to the red card, because we started really well and it looked like a game that we could go on and win, because we were all over Swindon before that. But we just need to impose our game onto them, put them under the back foot. Obviously, without them getting a point at home all season, you imagine the crowd would get quite restless quite early on if we start to dominate. And it's just about, maybe it is a case for us, if we get 1, we can get 2 or 3. I don't really see it that way. But yeah, we just need to get a goal to start. It sounds so stupid, but we do literally just need to get that first goal and then just confidence from there, which I know, as I say, it just sounds like a stupid thing to say, but when you've only scored 1 goal a season from a set piece, it's a valid thing to say. I don't think it's going to be a classic. I think it's one of them, because we looked at Wimbledon, but they hadn't won at home, won a game in 2022 all season, re-rock up on the first game and they get that. Crawley haven't got a point at home all season, re-rock up. I wonder what's going to happen. I really don't know how to predict it, to be honest. Well, at one point I'm thinking, well, we can't score, so I can't see us getting much of it. But then you also think, well, we've got to score at some point, surely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is something at some point has to give, doesn't it? Surely at some point a ball is going to fly off a Gills boot and hit the back of the net. At some point we are going to get an away win. We can't keep carrying on with no goals, no wins, and just keep plodding along, because surely at some point it is going to come to fruition on one Saturday afternoon. It might be just a one-off, but it surely it's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, but then I would also consider the fact that although they haven't hit the heights yet, you can't afford to give someone like Dom Telford a chance. And
No.
Yeah, that's what I worry. But give him a chance. At point 9 out of 10 times he'll take it. He hasn't hit it off so far this season. And Tom Nichols as well is another striker I would have had here. But I imagine they're going to start a partnership together. So, we can all say they haven't got a point at home yet. But if you've got to be very wary with them two up top, because if you give away a chance, more than likely you're going to end up in trouble. But they'll all come to fruition, I suppose. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Josh, predictions for Saturday? What are you going for?
My head says 0-0. My heart says 1-0 Gills.
Oh, wow. Okay. Owen, what are you going for?
1-0.
1-0.
1-0 Crawley.
1-0 Crawley. Okay. Yeah.
That Carlisle game.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. Yeah, I can't see us getting anything out Saturday. I must admit. Yeah, I can't see it. I think I'll go with Owen. Okay. That's the end of tonight's show. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. You've been watching episode 20 of the ME7 podcast. Can the Gills head down the M25 and head back up it with 3 points and goals, or goal at least? Surely, at some point it is going to happen. We can't reach like 1,000 minutes, can we? Surely not. Well, it'd be the Gills' way, wouldn't it, to break records of all records. Anyway, thank you all for watching tonight. Keep liking, subscribing. Keep watching us. And as always, up the Gills. Good night.